from concrete to clarity, uncovering inner resilience across the United States. In the heart of Chicago, where towering skyscrapers cast long shadows over bustling streets, lived Maya, a 32-year-old architect whose life had become a blueprint of stress and disillusionment. The city's relentless energy, once a source of inspiration, now felt like a cage of concrete and noise, echoing the chaos in her mind. Maya had always been driven by a passion for designing spaces that brought people joy, but after a series of professional setbacks and a painful breakup, she found herself drowning in self-doubt. Every morning, she woke with a knot of anxiety in her stomach, questioning her abilities and worth. Her apartment, filled with half-finished models and sketches, was a testament to her stalled creativity, and the constant hum of traffic outside seemed to mock her inability to move forward. She felt isolated, as if the very structures she had helped build were closing in on her, and the fear of failure had become a constant companion, whispering that she wasn't good enough. This emotional turmoil was compounded by sleepless nights and a growing sense of emptiness, pushing her to the brink of burnout. But deep down, a flicker of resilience urged her to seek change, to find a way out of the shadows and into the light. So, with a mix of trepidation and determination, Maya decided to embark on a solo road trip across the United States, hoping that the open road might offer the clarity she so desperately needed. Her journey began on a crisp autumn morning, the wind whipping through her hair as she drove out of Chicago, leaving the familiar skyline behind. The first leg took her through the rolling plains of Illinois, where endless fields of corn stretched to the horizon, and the simplicity of the landscape slowly began to soothe her frayed nerves. Yet, the initial days were far from easy. Alone in her car, with only her thoughts for company, Maya grappled with intense loneliness and waves of fear. She questioned her decision constantly, wondering if she was just running away from her problems rather than facing them. At a small diner in Iowa, she sat with a lukewarm cup of coffee, staring out the window as rain streaked the glass, and tears welled in her eyes. The weight of her past mistakes felt heavier than ever, and she found herself replaying moments of rejection and criticism, each memory feeding her self-doubt. But it was in these moments of vulnerability that she started to develop coping mechanisms. She began journaling, pouring her heart onto the pages, and found solace in the rhythmic motion of driving, which allowed her mind to wander and process her emotions. She also started practicing mindfulness, focusing on her breath during moments of panic, and this small act of self-care became an anchor in the storm. As she crossed into the Badlands of South Dakota, the stark, rugged beauty of the terrain mirrored her inner turmoil. Hiking through the otherworldly rock formations, she felt small and insignificant, yet strangely empowered. The physical challenge of climbing steep paths forced her to push through her limits, and with each step, she shed a layer of fear. One evening, as she watched the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple, a sense of awe washed over her, and for the first time in months, she felt a glimmer of hope. She realized that resilience wasn't about avoiding pain, but about embracing it and growing from it. This insight sparked a shift in her perspective. She started to see her journey not as an escape, but as a quest for self-discovery. Continuing westward, Maya reached the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, where the towering peaks tested her resolve in new ways. Driving through winding mountain passes, she encountered a sudden snowstorm that forced her to pull over on a narrow ledge. Fear gripped her as visibility dropped to zero, and the howling wind seemed to echo her deepest anxieties. In that moment of crisis, she had to make a decision: succumb to panic or tap into her inner strength. Drawing on the mindfulness techniques she had been practicing, she focused on calming her breath and assessed the situation logically. She remembered advice from a park ranger she'd met earlier and used her emergency kit to wait out the storm. Huddled in her car, with the world outside a blur of white, she felt a profound sense of resilience building within her. It wasn't about being fearless, but about facing fear head-on and finding the courage to endure. When the storm passed and the sun broke through the clouds, illuminating the snow-covered peaks, Maya felt a surge of empowerment. She had survived, and in doing so, she had uncovered a strength she didn't know she possessed. This experience solidified her belief that challenges are opportunities for growth, and she began to approach the rest of her journey with renewed vigor. As she traveled through the deserts of Arizona and the coastlines of California, Maya encountered diverse people and places that further enriched her understanding of resilience. In a small town in New Mexico, she met an elderly artist who had overcome numerous hardships to pursue his passion. His stories of perseverance resonated deeply with her, reminding her that resilience is a universal human trait, forged in the fires of adversity. She spent days volunteering at a community garden, digging her hands into the earth and feeling a connection to something greater than herself. These interactions taught her the importance of community and the power of shared struggles, and she started to let go of her isolation, opening her heart to new friendships. The climax of her journey came on a quiet beach in Oregon, where the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean stretched before her. Sitting on the sand, with the rhythmic crash of waves as her soundtrack, Maya reflected on the entire trip. She thought about the concrete jungle she had left behind and the clarity she had found in nature's simplicity. All the emotions she had experienced, fear, doubt, loneliness, and eventually, empowerment, coalesced into a profound realization: her inner resilience had always been there, waiting to be uncovered. It wasn't something external she needed to find, but a part of her essence that had been buried under layers of stress and expectation. In that moment, she felt a deep sense of peace and wisdom wash over her. She understood that life's challenges are not obstacles to happiness, but pathways to it, shaping us into stronger, more compassionate beings. She made a decision to return to Chicago with a new perspective, ready to rebuild her life with the lessons she had learned. Back in the city, Maya didn't see the concrete as confining anymore. Instead, she saw it as a canvas for her renewed creativity. She started a new project, designing sustainable spaces that incorporated elements of nature, inspired by her journey. The struggles she had faced on the road had taught her that resilience is like a muscle, it grows stronger with use, and she now approached setbacks with a calm determination, knowing that each one was a chance to learn and evolve. Her story is a testament to the human spirit's capacity for transformation, showing that even in the darkest times, we can find light within ourselves. As she looks out at the skyline now, it no longer feels like a prison but a symbol of possibility, reminding her that clarity often comes when we step away from the noise and listen to our inner voice. So, to anyone feeling lost in the concrete of their own lives, remember that resilience is not about never falling, but about rising each time you do, and that the journey from confusion to clarity is one we all can take, uncovering the strength that lies within. Break time equals 5s. Greater than the sun dipped low over the horizon, casting long shadows across the sleepy coastal town of Seaview, where the salty breeze whispered secrets to the weathered docks. For Alara, a 42-year-old librarian, this place had once been a sanctuary of shared memories with her late husband, Liam. His sudden passing a year ago had left her adrift in a sea of grief, the vibrant colors of life fading to muted grays. Her small cottage by the shore, once filled with laughter and the scent of Liam's sea-inspired paintings, now echoed with a silence that felt suffocating. Each morning, Alara woke with a heaviness in her chest, the weight of loss making even simple tasks like brewing tea feel monumental. She avoided the beach they had loved, fearing the waves would only remind her of his absence, and buried herself in books at the local library, seeking solace in stories that weren't her own. But deep down, a flicker of longing stirred, a desire to feel alive again, to honor Liam's memory without being consumed by it. The initial challenge was overwhelming: how to move forward when every step felt like a betrayal? Self-doubt gnawed at her, whispering that she wasn't strong enough, that happiness was a distant shore she could never reach. Yet, in quiet moments, she recalled Liam's words: "The sea never stops moving, Alara, neither should we." It was this memory that planted the seed of resilience, urging her to take one small, trembling step at a time. One crisp autumn morning, Alara decided to walk to the beach, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. The sand felt cold beneath her feet, and as the waves crashed, tears streamed down her face, not just of sorrow, but of raw, unfiltered emotion. She started by sitting on their favorite rock, simply watching the gulls soar, and in that stillness, she began to notice the small beauty she had overlooked: the way the light danced on the water, the resilience of the seaweed clinging to the rocks. This became her coping mechanism, a daily ritual of facing the pain head-on, allowing herself to feel it without letting it define her. She started journaling, pouring her fears and hopes onto paper, and found that writing gave her a sense of control amidst the chaos. Slowly, she ventured beyond the beach, volunteering at a community garden where she met others carrying their own burdens. Through shared stories, she learned that resilience wasn't about avoiding pain, but about weaving it into the fabric of life, finding strength in vulnerability. As weeks turned into months, Elara's emotional landscape shifted. The once paralyzing grief softened into a bittersweet ache, and she discovered a newfound empowerment in small acts, planting a flower in Liam's memory, reading poetry aloud to the waves, even laughing again with new friends. The climax came during a stormy evening when the town faced a power outage. Elara, drawing on the inner strength she had cultivated, organized an impromptu storytelling session at the library by candlelight. As she shared tales of hope and loss, she realized that her journey had not been about escaping the shadows, but about finding light within them. In that moment, she felt a profound sense of peace, understanding that wisdom isn't born from ease, but from the courage to embrace life's storms. The lesson was clear: resilience is a quiet, daily practice of choosing to rise, even when the world feels dark. Elara's story leaves us with an inspiring message, that within every heartache lies the seed of transformation, and that by facing our fears with gentle persistence, we can uncover a strength we never knew we had. As the stars emerged over Seaview, she knew that Liam's spirit lived on, not in the past, but in the courage she found to live fully in the present, a beacon of hope for anyone navigating their own shadows.